Hi, welcome back to Title Talk with Title Leap, and this week we're going to talk about part 2 of the landlord-tenant phone calls we've received over the last week.
I'm David, closer extraordinaire here at Title Leap.
And I'm James Brown, a Florida real estate attorney and founder of Title Leap.
So, Jim, we keep on getting the calls about tenant and landlord issues. Tenant signs a contract, they put a deposit, and what happens to that deposit exactly?
So Florida law dictates pretty closely, unlike other states, what the landlord has to do with the deposit.
Deposits and advance rents too, right?
Deposits and advanced rents, exactly.
Okay.
Good security deposits, to be more precise. Security deposits are one category of rents the landlord withholds, and then advanced rents. Both must be deposited into a account and not commingled. If the landlord's going to collect interest on the money, there's a whole other set of rules that govern. Most of our landlords are small and they don't collect interest, and they are not allowed to collect interest. And then most importantly, the landlord has to serve written notice to the tenant within 30 days of the location of the deposits.
They have to serve notice.
Yes, written notice. So in the leases we do, we put the location of the repository, the bank, in the lease. So the landlord has already fulfilled that duty.
Okay.
In the event they fail to fulfill that duty, and they fail to meet certain other requirements in the return of the security deposit, you have instantly armed your tenants with tools to help them get their rents back, and so the landlord is already in breach, and so the tenant would have tools to go after the landlord with in a security deposit dispute, which is the other issue we're going to talk about.
Security deposit dispute. So a lease ends and the buyer had put down, month's rent worth of security deposit,
right,
month worth of advance rents.
Right.
We haven't installed that money exactly.
So that money, after it sits in the proper repository,
right,
within 15 days of the end of the lease, the landlord is under a duty by statute to return that money back to the tenant.
Okay.
So 15 days come and the landlord hasn't returned the money. In kind of a weird twist of timing, the landlord has 30 days to give written notice to the tenant of why they're withholding the rents, and then the tenant has 15 days to respond as to whether they accept the withhold of the rents or not. If they don't respond, the landlord is allowed to, by law, automatically deduct those monies from the security deposit and return the balance to the tenant, if there is any.
So, in terms of withholding, whatever funds or whatever, would this be for, damages and things like that? Okay.
Damages to the unit, reasonably priced, repairs. The landlord's not allowed to pay themselves for the repairs, so they can't say they're worth $30 an hour and they had 10 hours worth of repairs and withhold $300.
Okay.
They have to hire a third party. Most importantly, if the tenant and the landlord get into a dispute over the return of the deposits, and the landlord is late on returning or on giving the notices, a lot of landlords think, I've forfeited all my rights. No, the landlord can always sue for damages.
Okay.
So they don't give the notice in time, 35 days elapse, then the tenant demands the deposits. The landlord has to return the deposits. If they withhold the deposits, it gets ugly and expensive for the landlord. But the landlord hasn't given up their right to sue for all the damages, so they still have recourse. So we do have a lot of landlords that fail to give the notice of where the deposits are withheld, fail to give notice of the damages, and tenants instantly spring to their rights, and they but the landlord at the end of the day always has the right to sue for the damages, and that's something I hear a lot of real estate attorneys failing to tell their clients about, their landlord clients about.
That's interesting. It seems there's just so many pitfalls when it comes to this whole deposit and being a landlord and all. But, at the end of the day, if you have clients, realtors that are facing these kind of issues, whether it's a landlord who feels like they've extinguished their rights, or whether it's a tenant who feels like they're being wronged in terms of deposits being withheld, give us a call. We can definitely help you with issues like this.
Thanks for watching this week's Title Talk with Title Leap, where we are all about empowering agents with the tools to succeed.
Hit subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And please be sure to keep up to date on our weekly content.
Talking about so.